welcome to All 24 News World News Program coming to you live from Algiers to the headlines. The Indian president praises bilateral relations with Algeria on day 3 of the visit. An Algerian-Indian Economic Forum secures agreements for profitable partnerships. In Gaza, Zionist forces killed 55 Palestinians in 24 hours. Dozens injured in shelling targeting homes in Bani Suhaila, Khan Yunis, Nusayrat, and Jabalia. The civil defense recovers 69 mortars in the Strip. Also in our news, the death toll in Lebanon raises after a series of air raids launched by the Zionist occupation forces on several towns in the south. Miqati confirms the government's readiness to strengthen the army's deployment in the southern regions, and Hezbollah stresses that Lebanon is part of the Zionist expansionist project in the region. And on the first day of his visit to Mauritania, Algerian Army Chief of Staff General Saïd Changriha meets Mauritanian President. The details are right after the break. Hello again and welcome back to the program. On Tuesday, during her visit to Algeria, Indian President Draupadi Murmu toured the Abdel Hafid Ihdad in Science and Technology Pole in Sidi Abdullah, accompanied by Algerian Minister of Higher Education and Scientific Research, Kamal Badari. She praised Algeria's achievements in scientific research and social justice. President Murmu was awarded an honorary doctorate by President Abdelmajid Tebboune, highlighting the strong ties between the two nations.
I am delighted to be here with all of you today. It is indeed a humbling experience for me to be honored with the honorary doctorate. This is an honor for my country more than for me as an individual. It is an honor you are bestowing on a country, citizen, and the culture that has been an ardent and consistent champion of peace and education since time immemorial. Fraction of the cost of Western institutions to ever increasing number of students from Africa, including from Algeria. We also offer several scholarships and fellowships to African students. I invite educational institutions, governmental departments, and youth of Algeria to take advantage of various initiatives of government of India.
The Indian President Draupadi Murmu described relations with Algeria as strong and deep, emphasizing the potential to further strengthen them in the future.
India-Algeria relations date back to the days of the Algerian liberation struggle against colonialism, when India advocated the cause of Algerian independence at the United Nations and other international fora. Following Algerian independence and the establishment of the diplomatic relations in July 1962, this policy orientation brought India and Algeria closer, and our friendly relations continue to this day. The current developments are but a good beginning. Our relations are a long way from reaching their potential, which can be achieved by the hard-working young people of our two nations. I am convinced of the power of youth of this country and truly believe in their capabilities to take Algeria on a path of glorious development. These young minds will eventually become the bridgeheads of enhancing our robust people-to-people ties.
In a related matter, the Indian President Draupadi Murmu visited the Fuka 2 seawater desalination plant west of Algiers, where she was received by Algerian ministers Mohamed Arqab and Taha Derbel. The plant produces 300,000 cubic meters of potable water daily, serving 3 million Algerians, and is one of the several desalination plants along the coast. The Indian delegation of experts visited the MFG factory of the Algerian Civital Corporation touring various sections of the flat glass facility. They received explanations on the raw material conversion and production stages. Economic operators from the delegation described the factory as significant and capable of fostering new cooperation opportunities between Algeria and India in several fields.
India as well as Algeria were over very recently, and therefore the new government which is there at both the sides will have another 4 to 5 year full time to implement the decisions which are being taken here. Our delegation and we all found the Algerian people very warm, very cordial, and many a time we found a lot of similarity between us. And that the core value what we share itself opens opportunity for a lot of cooperation between both the businesses.
This field visit allows them to learn more about Algerian companies and particularly Algerian industry. We have conducted 2 visits. The first one is to Sidal company, which is a leader in pharmaceuticals because they are also leaders in pharmaceuticals. And the second to MFG company that produces glass in which they are also leaders.
لتصنيع الزجاج اللي هم ثاني رواد فيها.
The Algerian-Indian Economic Forum concluded with an agreement to establish mutually beneficial business relations and partnerships. Economic operators from both countries expressed their commitment to developing projects that would be profitable for both sides. More details with Nabil Khazini.
Rich and diverse culture that Algerians.
In a significant step towards strengthening bilateral ties, Algeria and India have launched a series of fruitful and profitable business relations following the conclusion of their inaugural economic forum. This landmark agreement marks the beginning of long-standing dialogues aimed at identifying and exploring partnership opportunities across various sectors as both nations seek to enhance collaboration. This initiative paves the way for future meetings designed to unlock the full potential of their economic partnership.
In light of the important discussions that you had with your brother, Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune, we share a common hope to increase the volume of our commercial exchanges based on the cooperation agreements that will be concluded between the 2 sides in promising economic sectors, which can form fertile ground for strategic partnerships which will make our 2 countries a model to follow in partnership and bilateral trade, in an equal and balanced manner to serve the common interests and to strengthen cooperation ties on the Asia-Africa axis.
The event also served as a platform for organizing B2B meetings between Algerian economic operators and their Indian counterparts. The Indian delegates expressed their eagerness to enhance bilateral cooperation in many fields of endeavor, emphasizing the importance of mutual trust. They also highlighted the need to intensify exchange programs and strengthen connections among business leaders.
Several major Indian companies have undertaken various infrastructural projects in power, construction, oil and gas, and IT, automotive and pharma sectors, including several EPC projects. Algerian Sonatrach signed a $1 billion US dollar contract with India's Larsen & Toubro to build plants to produce 14 million cubic meters of gas per day.
The Algerian-Indian Economic Forum, co-chaired by the Indian President and the Algerian Minister of Commerce, offers a key platform for economic operators from both nations to explore mutually beneficial cooperation. This initiative aligns with Algeria's strategy to enhance economic ties with India and expand partnerships, building on the historical friendly relations between the 2 countries.
And now we move on to the recent developments on the ground in Gaza Strip after the break. In the past 24 hours, Zionist occupation forces committed 4 massacres in Gaza Strip, killing 55 people and wounding 329, according to the Palestinian Ministry of Health. The death toll from the ongoing aggression since October 7th has risen to 42,344, with 99,013 wounded. Many victims remain trapped under rubble as rescue teams face difficulties reaching them. According to local media reports, 10 Palestinians were killed when Zionist occupation forces bombed the Abu Ta'ima family's home in Bani Sahila, east of Khan Yunis. In another raid in Al-Fakhari area, 7 Palestinians, including children and women, were killed. In Jabalia refugee camp, 5 more were killed in Fallujah, and another was killed in an airstrike near Nu'man Mosque. Families in the camp have appealed for rescue as medical crews cannot reach the wounded due to the ongoing attacks. The Palestinian Civil Defense in Gaza Strip reported recovering the bodies of 69 martyrs from various areas in northern Strip. Over the 11 days of the ongoing incursion, rescue operations also treated and transferred 94 wounded to hospitals and evacuated 16 families from dangerous areas. However, 24 people remain missing under rubble. The UNICEF emphasized the urgent need to end the horrific violence against children in Palestine amid the ongoing Zionist aggression. In a post on X platform, the UN body highlighted the disturbing images of children being killed and families bombed while attempting to escape, calling for the international community to intervene and stop the bloodshed in Gaza. In the same vein, Algeria called for the holding of an urgent Security Council meeting devoted to the situation in Gaza Strip. The meeting will be held on Wednesday at 10 a.m. New York time. The Palestinian Ministry of Foreign Affairs warned that the extremist right-wing government's aggressive policies threaten the establishment of an independent Palestinian state. And it stressed the need for Palestinian legitimacy over Gaza and the occupied West Bank, including East al-Quds, and cautioned against ongoing colonization efforts.
The ministry warns of the dangers posed by the occupying power's intensified efforts to tighten its control over the Gaza Strip and its ongoing attempts to impose Israeli administrative rule in northern Gaza as a prelude to extending it to the entire region. The ministry reaffirms that the establishment of an independent Palestinian state must involve empowering the internationally recognized Palestinian Authority to assert its sovereignty over Gaza and occupied West Bank, including East al-Quds, in line with the advisory opinion issued by the International Court of Justice and adopted by the United Nations General Assembly.
Our program continues. More international updates are coming up shortly after the break. Cuban President Miguel Diaz-Canel led a large demonstration in Havana denouncing the genocide against the Palestinian people by the Zionist occupation. Attended by prominent political figures and representatives from various ministries and the University Students' Union, participants expressed Cuba's unwavering support for the Palestinians and demanded an immediate end to the violence. Qatar's Emir Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani called for an end to the war in Gaza and aggression in Lebanon, urging the implementation of international resolutions. During the Qatari Shura Council's opening session, he noted the occupation's expansion of violence to the West Bank and Lebanon, asserting the need for a two-state solution. The Emir reaffirmed Qatar's commitment to mediating an end to the conflict despite the ongoing challenges.
The easiest and safest way to stop the escalation on the border with Lebanon would have been to stop the war of extermination in Gaza, which the majority of humanity demands. But Israel deliberately chose to expand the aggression to implement pre-prepared plans in other locations, such as the West Bank and Lebanon, because it sees that the scope for that is available.
The Lebanese Ministry of Health's Emergency Operations Center reported that the death toll from the Zionist aggression in Lebanon has reached 2,350 martyrs. This comes amid recent Zionist attacks on southern Lebanon towns and villages. Usama Ayadi reports.
At least 23 people were killed in Lebanon on Monday afternoon in a Zionist airstrike on Sgarta in the northern governorate. This was the deadliest attack to target the governorate since the start of the war. The Lebanese Health Ministry also affirmed that another 8 people were wounded in the same attack.
The strike was very violent and the damage is very significant in this historic city that has been hit by more than a month of daily strikes.
The raid hit a residential building in the village of Aitu in Sgarta, housing around 30 people, mostly women and children, all of whom were displaced from the border village of Aitron in the southern Nabatea governorate.
We were hit by 2 heavy strikes. The first one was last week, and this week, last night. There was a very heavy strike, and we had to stop treating patients.
The Lebanese Public Health Emergency Operations Center of the Health Ministry announced that casualties caused by the Zionist attacks on Lebanese civilian areas reached 2,350 martyrs, in addition to 10,906 injured civilians. Meanwhile, Hezbollah missiles forced thousands of Zionists in Tel Aviv to hide in shelters on Monday night, while navigation at Ben Gurion Airport was halted for several hours.
We have decided to follow a new approach, which consists of hurting the enemy so that he feels pain. The rockets are now reaching Haifa and beyond.
Hezbollah continued to conduct operations on many regions of the occupied Palestinian lands on Tuesday, firing rockets at several settlements. It also launched a number of missiles during the early hours of Tuesday at gatherings of Zionist forces in various regions in the occupied Palestinian lands.
Iranian government spokeswoman Fatima Mehjarani stated that Iran has never initiated a war despite its strong self-defense capabilities. She emphasized that the country will respond to aggression at the right time and place. Mehjarani also expressed Iran's openness to peace proposals to halt the violence in Gaza and Lebanon, reaffirming its readiness to help improve the situation. The Islamic resistance in Iraq released footage on Telegram showing the launch of a drone targeting what it described as a vital target in Tabriz within the occupied territories. Lebanese caretaker Prime Minister Najib Mikati confirmed on Tuesday that Lebanon is prepared to strengthen its army's deployment in southern Lebanon if a ceasefire is reached between Hezbollah and the Zionist occupation. In an interview with AFP, he stated that the number of Lebanese forces in the south would increase from 4,500 to between 7,000 and 11,000 soldiers.
Currently, we have 4,500 soldiers in southern Lebanon, and we want to increase them to between 7,000 and 11,000. We can redeploy soldiers from certain areas, non-conflict areas, where security is stable, but where Lebanese soldiers are stationed, and transfer them to southern Lebanon.
In a televised speech on Tuesday, Hezbollah's Deputy Secretary General Naim Qassem stated that Lebanon and the region cannot be separated from Palestine. He emphasized that the Lebanese resistance support for the Palestinians is support for justice, asserting that they are the rightful owners of the land. Qasim declared that resistance is the only way to deter the Zionist occupation, which relies on killing and displacement.
نضيق بالمساندة خيارات.
We are narrowing with our support the choices of Israel in achieving its expansionist goals. The US and Israel, when committing this extermination and amidst this continued criminality in Palestine and Lebanon and the whole region, and shielding Israel while doing whatever it wants, this means that they are partners in what they want to achieve. Thus, we are facing a real danger of seeing a new Middle East made by the US and Israel.
The Deputy Secretary General of Hezbollah warned that the Zionist occupation is pursuing an expansionist settlement project in Lebanon, expressing concern about the emergence of a new Middle East shaped by the Zionist American interests.
في لبنان لا يمكن.
We cannot spare Lebanon from Palestine nor the region from Palestine. Our support for Palestine is a support for the right because the Palestinians are defending their right.
German Foreign Minister Annalena Baerbock called for an investigation into the shooting incidents involving the United Nations interim force in Lebanon. During a joint press conference with her North Macedonian counterpart in Berlin, she emphasized the need for a ceasefire to protect the UNIFIL forces, from targeting, stating that this is a demand of the international community.
This means that this UNIFIL mission, which will have to be even stronger and more robust in the future, must not be shot at, but on the contrary must be protected. And that is what we as an international community expect. We Europeans made that clear yesterday. The Americans made that clear. The British made that clear. We expect this from all players in the region. This also includes an investigation into the latest incident.
Now we move on to national news. Chief of Staff of the People's National Army, General Said Changri, had conveyed a written message from President Abdelmajid Tebboune to Mauritanian President Mohamed Ould Sheikh Al Ghazouani, congratulating him on his re-election. During his official visit to Mauritania, Changri met with Al Ghazouani and praised the strong ties between the two nations, highlighting the potential for enhanced bilateral relations. Now for more news stories making headlines around the world in the News in Brief by Hussein Burkan.
Iran held a funeral Tuesday for Brigadier General Abbas Nilforoshan, the Revolutionary Guard's deputy commander, who was killed in Israeli strike on Beirut alongside Hezbollah's leader. The ceremony took place in Tehran, with high-ranking officials, including President Masoud Pezeshkian and Quds Force Commander Ismail Khani. Iran's foreign minister condemned the killing, vowing that it won't go unanswered. Cuban President Miguel Díaz-Canel led a large rally in Havana in support of Palestinians. Wearing a keffiyeh as he marched alongside thousands, protesters condemned Israel's irrational and genocidal behavior, calling for continued solidarity with Gaza. The march reflected widespread support for the Palestinian cause on the island. A Russian attack on Ukraine's Mykolaiv killed one person and injured at least 16, according to regional authorities. The strike damaged infrastructure facility, restaurants, homes, and cars. Ukrainian emergency services extinguished fire caused by the attack. The Ukrainian military said Russian forces launched 7 missiles at the region and targeted other areas with drones. Heavy rains in Chennai caused flash flooding on Tuesday, submerging roads and disrupting daily activities. Severe water logging forced residents to wade through flooded streets, leading to closure of many schools and businesses. The state government declared a public holiday for schools and government offices in Chennai and neighboring districts for Wednesday, according to local media reports.
Algerian President Abdelmajid Tebboune expressed his condolences on Tuesday over the passing of the international referee and former Algerian Football Federation President Blade Lacarne. In a statement, President Tebboune extended his heartfelt sympathies to Lacarne's family and the sports community, praying for God's mercy on the deceased. That brings us to the end of our news program for tonight, dear viewers. Thank you for watching and take care.